How about them Warriors? Woo!
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
That was an ass kicking. Whoa. Let's do this. Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host, Cyrus Saatsaz. Happy Friday night. Hope you get a good start to the weekend. And look, a Warriors win like that is a hell of a way to get things going, to kick off a couple days off. Hello to everyone traveling. Urquidez, Django, I'm guessing saying thank you because we started right when the game ended. Who else is in there? Ronell saying that the bench is full of dogs. Let's start right here, folks. Could you imagine? I was trying to come up with the best metaphor, and I swung and missed horribly because I still haven't thought of a good one. But imagine yourself being a prize fighter. Let's use boxing as the analogy here. And you're facing like Mike Tyson in his prime. And let's say you're holding your own after the first round. You're going blow for blow. You're managing to duck his biggest hits. You're somehow laying a few punches yourself. And then you sit in your corner. Your trainer's giving you a pep talk. He's telling you you did good. You won 10-9 the first round. You got some punches in there. You got him against the ropes. And then you come out for the second round and Evander Holyfield just swapped out for Mike Tyson. And then third round, Lennox Lewis swaps out. And then fourth round, as you're getting your ass kicked if you survive this long, oh, here's Mike Tyson again. That is what it's been like to play this Golden State Warriors team. Look, it's only Portland. It's only Utah. But look, the Warriors are winning the games they're supposed to win. Oh, by the way, is my mic plugged in? Let me double check here. It is not. Now it is. Sorry about that. And again, let me repeat myself one more time. Portland, awful team. Utah was a better test because the Utah Jazz, at least have height, have some talent, but nonetheless, I mean, when you're not only taking care of business the way you're supposed to be taking care of it, but you're blowing these teams out the way you're blowing them out. This was the second biggest win ever by a road team in Utah, if Bob Fitzgerald, the play-by-play broadcaster, is correct and accurate. As I watched Trace Jackson Davis on the screen there talking, doing the post-game interview, this is fantastic. I mean, again, so far, so damn good. I'm going to break down a lot of stats. If time permits and sound comes down, we'll play some sound. I'm looking at some of the other programs right now, doing a post-World Series reaction. No. This is a Warriors program, baby. We're talking Warriors. And yes, Damian LaRoche, I don't know how else you could say it. The Warriors pimp slapped the Jazz. They really did. The Utah Jazz should call themselves something else, by the way. That still bugs me to this day. It was the New Orleans Jazz. It should be like the Utah, I don't know, the Mormons, the Utah Mountains. I don't know. Come up with a better name than the Jazz. The jazz music in Utah does not make any sense. I digress. And then C-Man and the Douglas Mike say this is where you just got to ruin the vibe. And look, do you call yourself a Warriors fan, Douglas Mikes? Because if you're a Warriors fan, why are you shitting on Kuminga on a night when the Warriors, for the second game in a row, blew away the opposition? Do you just like being a dick? Is finding negativity your thing? Come on, man. Pick up the vibes. Be a little more positive than that. And again, here's another dick, JL, just ripping on Jonathan Kuminga because statistically, he didn't put up like 20 points. Give me a break, man. The Warriors are winning these games. Why is Jonathan Kuminga on your mind? Is it because of me? Is it because I think he's going to be a great player in this game? Is that your only reason? Stop being an asshole, man. Come on. Let's lighten the mood up a little more. And Traveling Urquidez, to be fair, saying he sucked. Is it because of the point total? I mean, look, he didn't score that many points. I'll give you and everyone else that. But Jonathan Kuminga was still a +8 out there, meaning the Warriors outscored the opposition when he was on the floor. Yes, he was 1 of 5 from the field. Yes, he only scored 2 points, didn't have any turnovers, didn't have any fouls, had a beautiful assist. He played great defense. I like to save the word suck for when your team actually loses. So please just relax on Jonathan Kuminga. Come on, man. I just don't get it. The Warriors had for the second game in a row, beat the opposition, spanked the opposition, 127-86, and yet the chat still just wants to pile on Kuminga. How can you call yourself a Warriors fan if you hate on one of their starters coming off a 2-0 record? It's asinine, but whatever. Let's start though. No, Addo, I'm not defending Kuminga with my life. I just don't get what the point is. And I do think he's going to be a great player. He's still the second youngest player on this team. He played 18 minutes. That's not a lot. Move on. Stop shitting on Kuminga, dude. I'm just going to not address it anymore. If you want to mention in the chat, speak to a vacuum, speak to space, because I'm going to ignore it from now on. What we're going to start with here is Buddy Hield, who had, for the second straight game, an awesome night. His shooting display, I mean, talk about making Dub Nation quickly forget about Klay Thompson. I know Klay had a good opening night for the Mavericks, but Buddy Hield in this game, in the first half, first of all, in my notes, he's just killing it. So where do I have my notes? Oh, I'm sorry, I actually published it publicly because Buddy Hield's first half numbers were absurd in this game. And that I do have in terms of stats. Buddy Hield in the first half tonight he played 14 minutes. He was 9 of 11 from the field. He was 6 of 7 from deep. He had 24 first half points. He was a plus 23 in net rating, far above everyone else. And by the way, on a side note, if you want to just strictly focus on statistics to judge Warriors players and not bring net rating into the equation, I didn't see any of you bashing Brandon Pajemski, who is the epitome of no stats yet a winning product. So it really bums me out that people just want to hate on a Warriors youngster, the second youngest player in the game, a player who will very likely factor strongly into the future of this team just because he didn't put up 20 points tonight. It's ridiculous. Buddy Hield, I want to go back to him because he had such an awesome game. He has been such an awesome addition to this squad. I mentioned the first half stats. His stats for the night as a whole. He only played 20 minutes, and he only played 14 and change in the first game. His efficiency, the amount of points he's putting in this condensed amount of time, and I mentioned efficiency, 7 of 9 from deep total, 10 of 14 from the field total, 27 points. He led all scorers in this game. He led all players on the Warriors side, and I'm guessing all players with a plus 24 with net rating. I apologize. Tied for the net rating lead, Brandon Pajemski, who was a plus 34 in the opener, despite scoring 0 points. Talk about an anomaly. In this game, Brandon Pajemski was also a plus 24, scores 15 points. But the Buddy Hield signing, I mean, it's just been all good. You know, it is just all good without without any argument. I mean, I don't know how you could say anyone could come out so far and say, yeah, well, you know, those 3 free agents, it was okay, but you know, I'm not that impressed. No, you better be impressed. Even Slow-Mo was out there dropping threes. DeAnthony Melton's the only one of the 3 that hasn't really come in and made like a major impact so far. And I know he's already dealing with some minor injuries that may be hampering him a little bit, but nonetheless, the Golden State Warriors. We'll break this down right now in detail. 2-0. Again, if some sound comes in during the game or during the show, I apologize. We'll play that. But Splash Buddy, I think that's the nickname. And I agree. By the way, Charles Watain, if you're pronouncing this correctly, I think you nailed it in terms of Kuminga, that once he stops pressing, he'll be fine. You could tell out there. He's like, you could just read the body language. And I hate the body language doctors, but if you can read someone's expressions and that represents reality in any regard, Kuminga just looks like he's forcing it. He just looks like someone who is a young player who should be playing a lot more than he is, and he's struggling because of it. But Splash Buddy, he's set, like, look at this stat line right here. I mean, you talk about an immediate impact on a team. Buddy Hield, and he's only played 35 minutes in 2 games. 35 minutes is usually what star players play in just a single game. Buddy Hield in this game, these first 2 games, I apologize, has set the record for most threes made in Warriors franchise history through the first 2 games. Number 2, previously number 1, was Stephen Curry, who just last year made 11 threes in the first 2 games, which tied a record he owned that he had set back in 2013-14. Klay Thompson made 11 threes in the first 2 games in 2017-18, the second of Kevin Durant's years with the Warriors. And then Steph had made 10 threes in the first 2 games of the season, 2 previous times in 2018-19 and 2021-22, the last title season. But then here comes Buddy Hield, the brand new Golden State Warriors, the Splash Buddy, makes 12 in the first 2 games in just 35 minutes combined. That's absurd. Buddy Hield, my Lord. It's a beautiful thing. Telemeadow saying lethal brother. I think Splash Buddies is the nickname, right? It's I don't, is there any argument about that? I think Splash Buddies is the winner, right? Roberti Moo writing that Moody looks to be so calm. We're going to talk about him after he signed that contract. Here's the thing, and I know you're defending Kuminga with this comment that you're writing that maybe Kuminga's pressing because he didn't get the contract. But Moses Moody was looking like this before he got the deal. If anything, Moses Moody earned the contract with the offseason work, with the preseason numbers where he was routinely leading the team in scoring, led the team in scoring in 4 of 6 preseason games. So I hear you, but I think that's actually a detriment or a disservice or a discredit to Moses Moody for the work he's put in. Moody is just playing fantastic basketball so far. Why don't we just read his stats right now real fast, because they're worthy of being mentioned. Moody was, I think, was he the 12th man off the bench again tonight? He might have been the 11th. I think Kyle Anderson was actually 12th. And I am going to give Andrew Wiggins his due as well. There are a lot of players that had terrific nights tonight. But while we're on the subject of Mr. Moody, who played 19 minutes tonight, he made 50% of his shots, 10 field goal attempts, 5 of them went in. He made 40% of his 3-point attempts. He was 2 of 5 from beyond the arc for 12 points. A plus 18 in net rating, and not much else to write home about. 2 steals, did have 2 turnovers, did have a rebound. That's a good thing. Did have an assist. That's a good thing. But anyway, so kudos to Moses Moody. Another great night for him. But Buddy Hield, my Lord, man, just to wrap it up. I mean, the impact that he has brought. The Warriors were trailing in this game early. For the second game in a row, the starting 5 taking some time to get it together. And then the second unit comes in and it just all of a sudden breaks wide open. So far, and again, the sample size is just 2 teams. Sunday night, the Warriors play the LA Clippers. Paulie McCaffrey, a.k.a. Paulie Max, going to join me for that postgame show. So stay tuned for that. The Clippers, I think, will present a little more of a reality check to see where this Warriors team truly is. No disrespect to the Utah Jazz in saying that. The Jazz and the Clippers are both likely going to be bad teams this year, but the Clippers have a little more talent on their roster than the Utah Jazz do. So that'll be yet another test that we're going to see this Sunday. But my God, man, the bench coming in and doing what they do. I'll read off to you the net rating stats just to give you an idea of, again, the disparity between the first unit and some of the second unit players. Okay. So the starters, Jonathan Kuminga, his +8. We mentioned that earlier. He had 2 points. I'm not going to sit here and defend his night. Wasn't a great night, but I'm not going to sit here and say he sucked either, because that's ridiculous. Draymond Green had 3 points in this game. That 3 points coming from a 1 made 3-point attempt was 50% from 3 tonight. And Draymond Green was struggling a little bit early too. He was part of the reason why the starters did not play well at the opener of this game. He was struggling a little bit, and Draymond again only scored 3 points, but those 3 coming again from one of his backpack threes. But he was a plus 12 tonight. Trayce Jackson-Davis, who I thought had a fantastic game. It's a little bit of a slow start. He got schooled a bit there by Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen on 2 different possessions, but still, solid night for Trayce Jackson-Davis. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Trayce Jackson-Davis, hasn't missed a shot yet through 2 games. Perfect 6 for 6 tonight. Was he 6 for 6 last game, or was he 7 for 7 regardless? Has not missed, literally, a single field goal attempt. And that is the reigning field goal percentage leader for the Golden State Warriors, Trayce Jackson-Davis. So he was a plus 12 tonight. He also scored 12 points, grabbed 9 rebounds. I thought he did a fantastic job. He even showed some passing prowess, had 2 assists in this game, but his net rating was a plus 12. Andrew Wiggins, who shooting-wise was hit or miss. There were a lot of layups that he weirdly missed, and this has been a problem for him for a couple years, but what he did to make up for that was grab a shitload of rebounds. He was attacking the glass. Wiggins is looking good. I don't know how to spin that. Okay. Like Wiggins, I'm a little more cautiously optimistic when it comes to Wiggins, just because I need to see a bigger sample size for me to be convinced that what we've seen the last 2 years was not the norm, and that maybe the 2022 version is still in there, but he looks good. I mean, and he had 13 rebounds tonight, which is a big number. 5 of those were offensive, and most of those were from his own missed shots. But look, if you miss your shot, that sucks. But if you grab your own rebound and put it back in, that's great. No harm, no foul, right? No pun intended. Wiggins also had 5 assists in this game. But despite that, when you hear some of the numbers from the bench, his plus 17 net rating was damn good, but not great compared to some of the bench numbers. Now, Stephen Curry had a bad first half, and I'll read to his first half numbers real fast. And this has been the story of Steph for the first 2 games, and also to a certain degree the preseason as well. Stephen Curry in the first half was 2 of 9 from the field. He was 1 of 5 from deep, had 7 points in this game. It wasn't anything to write home about. But when you look at his final numbers, and especially the third quarter, Stephen Curry finished this game a plus 22 in terms of net rating. He was killing it out there. Finished the game with 20 points. Finished the game with 4 assists, added 3 rebounds. There was 1 3 he put up where I'm going to have to see the replays of this, and I'm sure if it did happen, it's going to be all over social media. But there was 1 3 that he put up where he did the most menacing thing I think Stephen Curry does is turning around before a shot falls in, right? That's become one of his signature, just brutal, soul-snatching plays, right? I mean, if you're on the other side of that, I don't know how you recover. And Steph, I feel like, did another one of those tonight where he put up a 3 before the ball goes into the cylinder, nothing but net. He turned around, saw his own bench, and gave him a look like, this is going in, what's up? And then started running back. I'm almost positive we had one of those plays tonight. Steph was, look, he's not pouring in these huge numbers like we're accustomed to, but he doesn't have to. And again, he was a plus 22 in net rating. Now, the bench, which has been just unbelievable in the preseason to the start of the season, I've been saying for weeks now, I am convinced this is easily the deepest team in the NBA. Look at some of these numbers. Buddy Hield was a plus 27. I'm sorry, a plus 24 in net rating. He finished the night scoring 27 points. Brandon Pajemski did not put up a donut this time. Offensively, he actually looked really good. Shot 50% from the field, was 7 of 14. Was only 1 of 5 from deep, so hopefully the 3-point numbers will improve over time. But plus 24. And he seems to be thriving in his bench role, leading this second unit. Like, that's a good spot for him right now. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, who, yes, did hit a 3-pointer tonight. He was a plus 18. Moses Moody was a plus 18. And then a couple of other players on the bench. Kevon Looney I'm sorry. Kevon Looney was a plus 12. I thought Looney had a fantastic game. I'm going to give him some more attention in just a moment here. Lindy Waters was playing some garbage time minutes, hit threes like he normally does. Lindy Waters could easily be a part of the rotation. I don't think this team loses a step. Lindy Waters was a plus 11, had 6 points. Both of those 3-pointers making up the 6 points altogether. Guy Santos got a run in this game, did grab 3 boards, but he was a plus 9, but he didn't score any points as well. And again, DeAnthony Melton, my guess is he's struggling with injuries a little bit. He had a shooting night like Brandon Podziemski did last time, where he played 13 minutes and change, was 0 of 4 from the field. 3 of those 4 field goal attempts were 3-pointers that all clanked. He did have 4 assists in this game. He also got called for 5 fouls. So not a great night for DeAnthony Melton. Again, scored 0 points and was tied with Kuminga for having the lowest net rating stat among all players. Both of those two finished the night with a plus 8. You know it is a damn good night when your worst net rating players still have a plus 8. Bravo. But the bench, I mean, strength in numbers. This is truth. It is real. It is dominating. Like, easily anybody that comes off the bench for the Warriors could be starting. And that's what the Warriors are doing. Like, the Utah Jazz for the first 6 minutes of this game probably felt good. They probably had some pride. They probably were thinking to themselves, we're holding our own. We're doing okay. And then what do the Warriors do? They bring the next platoon in. It's like the Utah Jazz were the Germans holding that front line thinking, hey, we might actually hold on to Normandy. Oh no, there's another 100,000 troops. Oh no, there's another squadron, another platoon. We can't hold up. And that's what happened with the Utah Jazz. That's what happened with the Portland Trail Blazers. They just could not handle it. And this depth is murdering teams right now. The fact that the Warriors for 48 minutes could constantly have fresh legs out there, and those legs are carrying starter ability players. My God, like, this is just, you got to feel good if you are a Warriors fan. You got to be feeling damn good if the Warriors are your team, if you consider yourself a member of Dub Nation, because dude, this is good. This is a deep team. There are a lot of similarities to the 2014-15 version. If you missed the episode on Thursday with Hall of Famer Rick Barry, we kind of went through the 13th man on that 2014-15 team. In case you folks have forgotten, and we covered this in great detail on Thursday. Fantastic trip down memory lane if you love nostalgia and sentimentality, which is sort of my jam. Brandon Rush, a player that I'm guessing a lot of you have forgot about, was the 13th man on that team. And he was getting, not only was he getting a run that year, he was contributing. He was a 3-point threat. He was playing perimeter defense. And this team has a lot of those vibes where that team had Leandro Barbosa coming off the bench. That team had David Lee coming off the bench. That team had Festus Ezeli as your backup center. I'm feeling a lot of the same vibes here. But I also agree strongly with Tom Scharf in the chat, who writes, I will reserve judgment until they play a team that's not bound for the lottery. Which is a fair point. The only pushback I will make to that is I would be a little more skeptical of this Warriors team if they weren't going out there beating the ever-living piss out of the opposition. A good team that plays a bad team is supposed to blow them out. And that's exactly what the Warriors are doing. It's fantastic. And they won this game by 41 points. Again, the second biggest win by a road team in the history of the Utah Jazz franchise. The biggest blowout ever to happen in Utah was by 45 points. The Warriors winning by 41. Absolutely absurd. And Dino Manrique writing in the chat, no, we don't need to wait for the non-lottery teams. And again, I don't know if the LA Clippers constitute being a lottery team. I do think they're better than the Utah Jazz, possibly. Ask me again in February. But my Lord, 41 points. And again, Steve White, I know that they beat the Utah Jazz, but they beat them by 41. right? It's not like this was a close game. It's not like they squeaked by. And Draymond, I absolutely agree with you. I'm gonna check out some of the chat questions and then chat comments for a moment here. I'm monitoring everything you folks are writing right now. Draymond, I agree with you 1,000% that this Warriors team, if we were watching this game a year ago, this would not have been a blowout game. This would not be anywhere near what we saw tonight. Pinoy reformat, bringing up Gary Payton II. I thought he had a great game tonight. Geez, I mean, everyone. It's not just the fact that the bench is playing outstanding basketball. It's that you have a lot of these veterans who have been on the decline a bit, and I don't know if they're feeling good because they have a great support system around them. I don't know if it's because they're feeling healthy and they had a fantastic offseason. The reason why I say this is Kevon Looney has been looking good, and we heard a lot of chatter about him working on his shot this offseason. That mid-range jumper is falling. He was 4 of 6 from the field today. Kevon Looney grabbed 10 boards in this game, only got called for 2 fouls. He's been doing an excellent job coming in as the backup center for Trayce Jackson-Davis. That is a beautiful rotation at the 5, where you're mostly seeing Trayce Jackson-Davis, you're mostly seeing Kevon Looney, and Draymond Green played some minutes there as a small ball 5, it was a great lineup out there. I think it was Steph, it was Wiggins, it was Buddy Hield was out there. Dre was the 4th, and I can't remember if the 5th was Kuminga or maybe it was Pajemski. But the point is, you can have these moments where Draymond Green becomes your small ball 5, and you're not putting the impetus on him to handle these bigs throughout the game. If as long as it's just for little spot runs, Draymond's done it before. He can do it again. There's a reason to be excited, folks. I mean, Kyle Anderson is a beautiful fit as your backup power forward, oftentimes coming in to spell Draymond Green. And that's working beautifully. He's a high IQ guy. There's a reason to be insanely excited right now. I'm having a hard time containing myself. I'm not gonna lie. Damien LaRoche in the chat. I didn't see this. Damien LaRoche wrote that Jonathan Kuminga shook his head at Curry. Oh, I do remember what you're talking about. I think my guess is JK was shaking his head at himself. The play you're referring to, Stephen Curry threw a behind the back pass to the corner where Jonathan Kuminga was. But Kuminga had moved from that position like 2 seconds before Curry made that pass. And I don't know, Steph for some reason thought that Kuminga was just standing there waiting for it. But Kuminga had long moved. And so when the pass went to him, no one was there. Like the ball just went out of bounds. It was a turnover. And that's when Jonathan Kuminga started shaking his head. I don't think he was shaking his head at Steph. It would surprise me if that's what was really going on. It seemed more like Jonathan Kuminga was just shaking his head, like just disappointed that the play didn't happen, maybe disappointed himself. If he was shaking his head at Steph, I agree with you. That would not be cool. Not be cool. That would not be good. But I just don't think that is what happened. Matt Brotherton, thank you for the contribution financially as well. And welcome. Matt, you're the one who first raised Pajemski's very fascinating stat line last post game where he had the no points, 30 plus 34 net rating. Matt Brotherton in the chat writing, the Warriors are winning. Friday night live streams are back. Fall is here. I know the weather is finally like just nice. Life is good. Trayce Jackson-Davis looks like he's on fire so far. The dude put in work this offseason. Yeah, dude, everything's beautiful so far. Yeah, these are good moments right now. We even have the Dodgers and the Yankees playing in the World Series. There's a lot of good stuff going on. KY in the chat. We got some ducats flying in. Thank you very much. Writing, Warriors fans have become so toxic the last 2 seasons. We just won by 41 more precise, and people can't stop complaining about Jonathan Kuminga. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't get it either. You would think that if you're going to complain about Kuminga, you do so on a night when they didn't win, or maybe it was closer than it should have been. They won by 41, folks. Like, why the hell are you complaining about Jonathan Kuminga? Why are you just bored? And KY in the chat adding, first it was Jordan Poole, then it was Klay Thompson, now it's Jonathan Kuminga. That's a good point. Do you folks feel like you just have to always have somebody to criticize? That is a good point. I'll give you that. And Quick Strike adding that Kuminga needs to channel his Kawhi energy. My honest opinion with Kuminga, it's two things. One is he needs to improve as a starter, and what I mean by that is not as a starter in terms of the lineup. I mean in terms of starting games. This has been his MO his entire career. He starts games slow. I pulled the stat. This was last season, and I'll do it again soon. We only have 2 games so far, so the sample size is small. But the stats have overwhelmingly shown that Jonathan Kuminga is his first, second quarter numbers do not equal his third and fourth quarter numbers. He seems to just he's like the running back that just seems to pick up energy and steam as the game goes along, which is not normal. Like Derrick Henry comes to mind. That dude, like by the fourth quarter, just seemed to be more energized. Kuminga is like that. And I don't know why Steve Kerr is either not aware of it or he just doesn't want to take advantage of it. But 18 minutes is not enough for Kuminga. Like he is someone who needs a good run. He needs a full 30 plus minutes to actually have a complete game. This is not his game to be an 18-minute a night guy. With that said, they won. He's not complaining. He got interviewed 2 days ago and he said he's happy. So he's not a disruption. He's not complaining. He's not bitching about it. I'm not bothered about what's going on overall. But if you want Kuminga to thrive, I don't know if this is it. But at the same time, in terms of having a 13 deep team where everyone's getting like 15, 20 minutes a game. Now, with that said, if he's not complaining, great. Who cares, right? It's all good. Damian LaRoche in the chat writing, do you feel Trace Jackson Davis is affecting Kuminga going to the lane? No, I just feel like Kuminga is just forcing it so far. Abraham De Leon writing, maybe he just needs to warm up more. Yeah, I don't know what the reason is, but he has slow starts. That is traditional. And the way things are with the Warriors right now, where it's just 5 minutes, you're out. 5 minutes, you're out. It's like a hockey style substitution pattern. This is not his style. And so I'm not expecting big numbers to come from him as a result of this. But I guarantee you one thing. If this next offseason, if the Warriors still decide they don't want to offer him a max, someone else will. And he's going to be a restricted free agent. And then the Warriors will have a very tough decision to make because you don't want to lose him for nothing. If you're going to lose him, trade his ass and get a valuable asset back in return. So, anyways, and Worried Wombat saying that, you don't think Kuminga deserves 30 minutes. Look, the guy was the number 7 pick in one of the deepest drafts ever. Every lottery pick deserves minutes so they can develop and grow. And maybe more importantly, you can judge who the person is. Kuminga's never gone that run. So until he does, it's impossible to fully judge his game. But I digress. Now, Daniel Gutierrez writing, what's your opinion on Wiggins? I said this earlier. Dude, he's looking fantastic. He looks engaged. He looks more engaged than Kuminga. And that is a Kuminga critique. Kuminga, like you could almost sense that he's a little bummed out about what's going on for him. And that's not cool. I'm not going to sit here and defend that. He's a young kid. Again, most lottery players get an opportunity to shine. And he was drafted by a team that contends year in, year out for titles. And it's very hard. With that said, it would be nice to see him happy along with the rest of his teammates. Wiggins is engaged. Wiggins looks all in. He does not look like the player we've seen the last 2 years. Again, I know it's just a 2-game sample size, but the 13 boards is a hell of a stat. Regardless of whether or not those rebounds came cheaply off his own missed shots, doesn't matter. 13 rebounds is a lot of boards. Bravo to that. He's hitting his threes. He was 2 of 4 tonight. You want that, obviously, right? Andrew Wiggins is starting to cement himself as the number 2 option. Well, maybe Buddy Hield actually is, but Wiggins is let me rephrase that. But Andrew Wiggins is cementing himself as a reliable scorer. This is who he used to be. This is the player that the Warriors traded for from Minnesota. And him playing at the 2 is where he belongs. I've been clamoring for this for a year and a half. Put him at the 2. And now we're seeing what happens. And again, it's only 2 games so far. And he scored against Portland. He put up 20. He had 10 points tonight. But again, he also had 13 rebounds. He was shot 50% from deep tonight. He was 4 of 7 from deep in Portland. So on the year, he's shooting 57.1%. My point is, I freaking love what I see so far. And so Energy Manifest asking a question like, if Wiggins plays like this, do you trade him? Why would you? I'm a firm believer in, why mess up a good thing, right? Like it's so we'll see what happens. We're only 2 games in, but I like what I'm seeing so far. Let me see if anyone else has anything to add to that comment. Richard Marquez saying it's too early to bail on Kuminga. Tom Scharf writing that you saw Wiggins with a beautiful, relaxed smile on his face in the second half. Yeah, he looks happy. Like, I mean, again, this is I really am not a fan of doing the body language stuff, and which I know I'm being hypocritical doing it. But some things are somewhat obvious, right? I mean, you apply common sense to things, and he looks happy. He looks like he's in a better place. So, and I agree, Chaz G and Simon as well, that he's not going anywhere if he plays like this. I haven't put the link for the chat. If anyone wants to jump in tonight, let me do that real fast, and then I'll read off a few more stats. So Richard Marquez, who's an official Golden Dazer, asked some great questions for Rick Barry the other day. The bravo to that. Asking, will Quinn Post and Reese Beekman get any minutes? Great question. Reese Beekman has been dealing with an injury. I forgot what the injury is off the top of my head. If I can manage finding that while I'm hosting a live show by myself, I will do that for you, sir. But if not, it's not hard to find. I don't know why Quinn Post and Pat Spencer are being DNP'd. I have no idea, because these garbage time minutes would be perfect for them. Maybe it's by design, and maybe Steve Kerr is fully aware that he has so many players on this team who deserve to play that even in garbage time, he'd rather give his 14 players on the roster those minutes and then just let the G Leaguers play in the G League. Maybe that's the focus here. I don't know, but but to answer your question, Reese Beekman has been injured. Pat Spencer and Quinn Post have just been inactive without any reasons given. So I don't know why. And then Victor K asking in the chat, are they even on the team? Yes, they are on the team as two-way players. And there are restrictions to that. For example, two-way players can only play 50 regular season games. So it also could be that. It could be that the team is just saving them for down the road when they might actually be needed, given you can't play them literally every game. So we shall see what happens. Yeah. With the two-way players, but that's what's going on with them. I don't know why. Going back to the stats real fast, because a lot of players deserve acknowledgement. I want to mention one more time, real fast. Trey Jackson-Davis just being magnificent as this team's starting center. That 5 position was a huge question mark going into the season. We didn't know who was going to start there. We didn't know if Steve Kerr would have faith in Trace Jackson-Davis. So far, he does. And so far, not only is Trace Jackson-Davis playing, he's holding his own. The Utah Jazz are a big team tonight. They were causing some problems early on. Like, Taylor Hendricks is a big boy. Walker Kessler is a big boy. Lauri Markkanen as a small forward is insane, given he's a 7-footer. Draymond Green was assigned to defend him, at least early in this game, and was having difficulties at time. He kind of got his bearings later, but this is not a small team to mess with. John Collins came off the bench and was a menace on the inside, grabbing 7 boards in this game. The reason why I bring up the fact that the Utah Jazz have this big front line is because Trace Jackson-Davis held his own, and I just want to give him his due. We saw what he did his rookie year. If he had started playing before January, he would have made the all-rookie second team for good reason, because he can play. And now in year 2, he's putting up little like hook shots. He's getting the ball passed to him in the post, and he's running the offense on top of the rebounding, on top of the defense. And he grabbed 9 boards tonight, had 12 points, almost had a double-double for the second game in a row. My point is, he's awesome. Let's go to Dre Hahn in the chat, or I'm sorry, not in the chat, actually coming on the show. Welcome, Dre. How the hell are you doing, brother?
Warriors, come out and play.
Hey, yee! What is up, brother?
Nothing much, man. You know what? I knew Buddy Hield can shoot it. I knew he can do that, but I'm very impressed with his defense. I don't know why everybody say that his defense is not good, or what is his net rating defensively? What's the?
Well, there is a. Well, I don't. Okay, here's the thing. I never recite the defensive rating stat because I think it's a bullshit stat. It's very subjective. Here's the reason why I never go to it, because 2 years ago, the player who led all guards in defensive rating was Stephen Curry. No disrespect to Stephen Curry. I love him, but he is not the best defensive guard in the NBA. But that is what that stat said. So what I rely on is defensive matchups, and that stat will come out. That stat comes out the next day. It's not an immediate stat. The NBA gathers that data, so I will rely on that. And next show, I'll reveal his matchup stats. But I will say this, man. I don't know where maybe it's just a team collective like defense that's making things easier for him. But I don't know if you've heard. But I've heard from Sacramento Kings fans, right? And obviously there's like a little quote unquote rivalry between the big brother and the little brother is over in Sac, that they were saying, wait until you see the Buddy Hield that we know. Wait until the real Buddy Hield shows up. And the difference between that team and the Warriors is this system is almost meant for Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield loves to move off the ball. He's a catch and shoot player. And when he was at Sacramento, when he was at Philly, he was expected to create his own shot a lot. Like he was basically given the ball and was told, score some points, please. With the Warriors, he's more just running around, and when the opportunity presents itself, he's getting past the ball and he scores. And there's so much less pressure on him here. This system is made for Buddy Hield. I'm sorry to rant so much and go off, man.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Take it. Go ahead. Do you have anything else to say, man? I'm done. I'm sorry. I feel guilty when I talk as much as I do with someone else.
You're fine.
Go ahead.
I'm just a guest on your show, so I'm gonna let you do your thing, Blair.
Yeah, but I don't exist without you. I don't exist without you. So Buddy Hield, represent the audience for the moment, man. What are your thoughts on him, dude? Like, how are you feeling?
I love him already. I think this system fits him. It is him. This system is him. So I mean, I understand. I don't want to get too because we know players have off nights. So let's not be, like that. They're gonna have off nights. That's Curry. That's Draymond. That's anybody. That's LeBron. That's AD. They're gonna have off nights. But I really believe this system really fits what he likes to do.
Yeah,
and I think that's what Mike Dunleavy was looking for. Let's get a player. If we can't get a home run in a Paul Pierce or marketing, let's go for some system players that can fit Steph Curry. And he does.
Hell yeah, man. And it's not just it's wild. It's hard to contain the excitement right now because he does look like an absolutely perfect fit. Let's bring Derek Simmons Jr. on the show as well. The bodybuilder himself from Vegas. I'll put myself on the bottom here.
Incredible Hawk is in. The Incredible Hawk is in.
I'll put you down here. Let me ask you two gentlemen this, but because Carson Taylor dropped $2 to get a comment in, and obviously if you're throwing money at me, I'm going to listen to you. Carson writes, I would trade Kuminga for Franz Wagner. Win-win for both. I would not. What do you two think?
Let's not do that right now.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this though, Derek. Happy to see you, man. I want to give JK 15, 20 games because, and I'm gonna say this why though. He was complaining about minutes last year, right?
He was complaining about not playing in general. Yeah,
right. So now you getting that playing time, young fella.
Kind
of. Now you're getting the playing time. So let's see what you gonna do with that playing time.
Dre, let me real fast. He's getting less minutes now than he did last year. So he's playing, but not at like a super high clip. I just wanted to clarify because it's
but he's starting, Cyrus. True. It ain't like you come on the bench and get 15, 18 minutes. That's starting. True. So I think what Steve Kerr is looking for him is energy rebounding, not really so much scoring from you. But where's the energy from you?
He wants Sean Marion. Remember he said that like a year or so ago, which was very controversial because Jonathan Kuminga idolizes Kobe Bryant. He wants to be like a star of a team who contributes, and he's got the talent. But then Steve Kerr came out and said, well, if you could be like Sean Marion, that's what Steve Kerr wants out of Kuminga. And maybe you got to trade him ultimately. I don't know. I'm more and more warming up to that idea. Derek, how are you doing, man? I haven't heard a word from you. How are you doing, brother?
So when we getting those Buddy Hield jerseys? When are we getting the Buddy Hield jerseys? Because I completely forgot about Clay. I completely forgot about Clay.
Even with Klay Thompson lighting it up for the Mavericks in that opener, he had a great game. Buddy Hield was still way better. Way better.
And it's not only the offense, it's the defense, it's the assists, it's everything. He's running the floor.
I agree with you, Derek.
I'm like, damn, what is this? I was watching the first half, like, oh my God, like this is incredible. Steph Curry don't gotta do nothing. Steph was just chilling.
Absolutely. I just asked Cyrus about that, like, hey, what is his defensive rating? Because everybody say his defense look bad. Like, where I'm trying to figure out who says his defense is bad, because he don't look too bad to me.
But this is why I said Steph Curry is the best player in the league, because players that struggle somewhere else, they line up with Steph, they become superstars, baby. They become superstars. And that's what we're seeing with Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I agree. And I gotta, so Red Black in the chat, real fast, asked if stop the cap if that was Wiggins. We already know. And my response to that, what he Red Black is insinuating is that if Wiggins was putting up the kind of numbers that Kuminga is, that I'd be blasting him right now. And you're right. But the difference is this is year 10 for Wiggins. When Wiggins was the number 1 pick overall for the Minnesota Timberwolves, dude was playing 35 minutes a night, year after year. Were they winning? Hell no. But that is what lottery picks are supposed to do. They got to play, man, so that the teams and the individual can find out collectively what do we have here? Who is this individual? The fact that we still have no idea who Kuminga is it's not, that doesn't sit right with me, man. But at the same time, I would not be talking about this right now because the Warriors won by 41 points and I'd be ecstatic. I just don't understand why Kuminga is still a talking point, man. It's just,
Can I ask both of y'all a question? Can I ask both of you guys a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Out of these 2 games, who played harder, Wiggins or Kuminga?
Wiggins, no question. I'm not. I can't. I'm not. Well, let me say that. I'm not attacking Kuminga's work ethic. I think he's trying out there. I think he's playing fine. And tonight he was playmaking. Like he was dishing the ball. Like there were quite a few plays where I actually thought he was being too unselfish. Like the dude is in his head right now. I don't doubt that for a second. Right. I think he's having a hard time figuring out like what to do, right? Like, should he just be a team player and suck it up? Should he continue to try to be the person that he believes he is? I think he's having internal struggles. Maybe I'm reading too much into it and we're all just talking about this way more than we should. I don't know.
So this is what's happening, Cyrus. So, and you said it back when he had that conversation with Steve Kerr. Kuminga wants to be in that spot where Steph Curry is. He sees himself as the franchise player. And when Kuminga told Steve Kerr, hey, I vision myself as Kobe Bryant, he was saying, I see myself as replacing Steph. That's why Steve Kerr said, I see you more as a Sean Marion. This is still the Steph Curry show.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right.
Like humble yourself, you know what I mean? But Kuminga, he's kind of like he's a Sigma male. He's not a beta male, so he still believes in himself, but he doesn't have the respect of an alpha male like Kobe did, like Michael did. You know, alpha males, they get direct respect as soon as possible. Kuminga is a Sigma that wants to be an alpha, but he's not getting that alpha respect.
Right.
And it's tough because we're dealing with waves and waves and waves of players that can contribute to the team. And I think really, Cyrus, your audience is trolling you because I really don't see the minutes where Kuminga could be that effective. I mean, Buddy Hield damn near take over the whole entire second half. Steph Curry had the third, and then everybody else had the fourth. I mean, where's the opportunity here?
Well, again, there were a couple plays where he attacked the paint. His skills attacking the rim are second to none. But tonight, there was one play, for example, very early in the game where he had an easy layup and he decided to pass. I forgot who he passed it to, but he gave it up. And I don't know why he did that. I just think he's in his head. I don't agree with this kind of rhetoric, like from Victor K, who says he wants to score. Again, I didn't see that tonight. He only had 5 field goal attempts.
I disagree. He didn't. No, I disagree. I disagree with what my man's saying. He played pretty good defense today.
He played, and I thought he's always played great defense. Like there's a reason why, especially in the games Wiggins is out, like he has been the last 2 years. The guy assigned with the number one defensive assignment has been Kuminga. Kuminga was guarding De'Aaron Fox. He's routinely guarding the other team's best player, unless Draymond Green steps in as well. Draymond, Kuminga, and Wiggins, them being the 3 starters, it isn't just an offense thing, man. Those 3 together defensively cause very serious problems.
They cause problems. Today's MVP was Draymond Green. He did so much little things on that court that do not show up on that stat sheet, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, today he was the MVP today. He did a lot today.
And Chaz G asking like what's wrong with Sean Marion? There's nothing wrong with that, but Sean Marion Sean Marion was just more of a role player, and when you're a young individual like Jonathan Kuminga with a limitless ceiling, like who knows what he's going to end up as. If he's striving to be Kobe, why squash that dream, man? Like I don't like if Kobe Bryant, if he can come close to that, you've got yourself your next Steph. Then there's no problems here. But again, 18 minutes a game for a lottery pick who could end up being a superstar in this league. It's just not enough. It's not enough, dude. Like I don't know of any player who ended up early in his career was restricted like this, given the amount of potential he has. If someone else has a name that they can throw out who has been limited this much. Yep.
Cyrus, this is what you got to know too, though. Let's go back to the interview at training camp with Steve Kerr said, right? He said the only spots that solidify is Steph and Draymond, right?
Right.
And he said everybody else wants to fight for those spots. That's why he playing 12 out right now. He trying to see on the scene eye test who gonna fit with these 2 slots.
Well, or just stick with the 12. I mean, so far so good. I mean, I actually like the way this is coming along, man. Like because all it does is you're putting pressure on the other team. Like
for sure.
So heavily, dude. Like you're seeing it so immediate as well. Like the moment that second unit comes in with that hockey style substitution where it's just 5 fresh bodies, and those 5 fresh bodies could be a starting 5 on an NBA team. You can just see on the faces of the Utah Jazz, man. They're looking at this going, Jesus Christ, dude. Like it's too much. It's too much, man. I love it. And I love it. Right. Sorry.
They're tired and they're going up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, I felt sorry because GP2 came in and I'm like, you get like a fresh GP2 when everybody is tired and he's knocking balls down. He's stealing. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Guys, they are contenders this year. I know
for sure.
Oh, it was just the Trailblazers. Oh, it was the Jazz. No, I haven't seen them play like this. They playing better than they did at 22.
For sure. Yeah, they are. You know what? I can agree with that.
Oof. You guys are a little too excited, man. Let's watch them. Let's watch them beat a really good team first, and then we can start talking about that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna run. Any last thoughts from either of you, man, on the Warriors winning by 41 freaking points, 2-0. They played the Clippers Sunday. Final thoughts, Dre, you first. Go ahead.
Man, go Warriors, man. We're on a roll right now, so let's keep it going. Let's keep playing hard. Let's keep playing for each other. And that's it.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. Dre, thank you so much for coming on. Derek, final words from you, sir, before we start wrapping things up here.
Another one down. Go to sleep, baby.
I love it, brother. Have fun in Vegas. Kill it. Do you like it out there, man? Chicago and Vegas are 2 very different places, dude. Do you enjoy Vegas?
Oh man, what stays in Vegas? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Except
and
herpes.
It's incredible out here. I'm enjoying my life for sure.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much, Derek, and you're welcome anytime, man. Come back, please. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother. And that is Derek Simmons, part of the audience, and anyone else can join me anytime they want. Someone in the chat mentioned that Steve Kerr, who was talking to the media, said that he's going to stick with this starting five. And let me see if I could find that sound bite. Well, I can't find that specific clip yet, but I did find a clip from Buddy Hield. Why don't we hear from him? Buddy Hield's wearing the beanie. They're up in Utah right now where it is freezing, given they're well above 4,000 feet elevation in the Rocky Mountains. So here is Buddy Hield talking about yet another fantastic performance for the 2-0 Golden State Warriors.
How quickly did you feel comfortable just overall in these last 2 weeks? How quick was the comfort level that you had here?
It starts off with, I keep preaching, everybody that's having the right intent, right mindset, preaching togetherness, sacrificing, and starting from the leaders with Steph and Draymond, Steve. Everybody come together as one, and everybody putting each other first. You know, Steph is one of the most humble superstars I've ever been around. The way he carries himself on and off the basketball court, you know, and I just watch them and then try to follow their footsteps and just look up to them in like a way that, you know, that I see basketball a different way that I in previous teams.
All right, and that's Buddy Hield. Nothing really stuck out there. Okay, kind of mostly cliche, complimenting playing with Stephen Curry and how fun it is. Here is Draymond Green. This is courtesy of Anthony Slater, who obviously does a fantastic job as a beat reporter. Him and Sam Gordon are fantastic. And let's hear from Draymond Green talking about the starting five. Again, I've heard this is the first time I'm hearing this, just like all of you. So here is Draymond. This is after the Warriors and the Jazz.
Started this really big lineup, 2 games. It struggled in the first quarters, recovered in the third quarters. What do you think of that group? And Steve seems pretty committed to it. Like, can this work?
Well, it can for sure work. We won each game by 35 points.
I just mean that unit in particular.
That helps. And then the second half, that unit has been dominant. Both, I think, you know, that unit is still learning how to play. We didn't have Wiggins all training camp. And then obviously, you know, sometimes I'm on Steph's team. Most of the times I'm not in training camp, you know, and you're just kind of trying to even things out so you have great practice. Now, you know, this lineup is getting a chance to get some minutes together. And I think what you'll start to see is we'll be able to settle in more offensively. We're coming out in that first quarter and everybody's just trying to get to it, go. Because we want to do, you know, we want that lineup to do well so bad. And so everybody's kind of coming out pressing. Then once we settle down, that lineup, you know, it takes over our size, our athleticism. We're getting out and running. We're attacking the rim, getting kick-out threes. And the game is changing for us in the third quarter. So we just got to do a better job. And that's probably on me, you know, to make sure that when we're coming out, we're getting into good stuff and everybody's settled down. We move the ball around. We get good looks. And, you know, I think last game we got good looks. They just didn't go in. This game, I hoisted a 3 to start the game. Wiggs hoisted a 3. JK hoisted a 3. Then JK shot a floater. And I turned the ball over, and that's just too much. You know, we got to get settled in, and I have no doubt that we will.
Sorry about that. All right, so that was Draymond Green talking about how the starting five will get it together. And I just love – this is where Draymond Green being on the team is so huge. I know he's had weaknesses as a leader, clearly. I mean, punching your teammates, not a good look. The suspensions and so forth. But at the same time, he is brilliant when it comes to basketball, and I'm sure a lot of other things. And the fact that he is there leading the young players particularly and teaching players like Buddy Hield defense, right? He, at his stage of his career, where he's going to be 35 years old this season, he is as much of a coach as he is a player. And it's one of those things where I personally will never take it for granted having Draymond Green on the squad. The Warriors are lucky to have him. I know a lot of people are, you know, don't like Draymond at this point. I hear a lot of Warriors fans wishing he wasn't on the team anymore. They don't win any of those titles without him. They're not winning a 5th championship without him. And his leadership is fantastic. Rigoberto Gomez was asking, didn't I want to trade the young guys for Markkanen? No, not all the young guys. I did say that if Brandon Podziemski was traded for him, I wouldn't object to that. But no, I didn't have any strong opinions on that per se. So that was a great soundbite from him. And one more soundbite to wrap up the sound part of the show tonight is Steve Kerr. One clip, and this is him talking about Buddy Hield's impact on the Warriors. Again, Buddy Hield, man. I've 27 points in this game tonight, 7 of 9 shooting from deep, 10 of 14 overall. Set the record for most threes made the first 2 games of a season for the Warriors. That's a franchise record. Unbelievable. And here is Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, talking about Buddy Hield and what he brings to the table. Here we go. Here is Steve Kerr.
Steve, what can you say about what Buddy did again in just the first 2 games? And
it was incredible watching him that first half. He brings so much energy to the floor, and part of it is the way he plays, just seeking those shots and seeking the threes and sprinting the floor. He runs so hard both directions and sets a tone for us. And then the other part is he's just an incredible person and teammate, full of joy. Bench is laughing, all the time with him. What he brings to the team goes way beyond, just his shooting, but that's massive in and of itself. So we're thrilled to have Buddy.
All right, so there you go. So that was Steve Kerr just talking about the addition of Buddy Hield and how awesome that has been. So kudos to the Buddy Hield signing. Anything else we want to talk about? Dave Durfee asking, am I going to any games this year? I might. I'll probably go to a few. I've been contemplating going and hosting a show from there. I might try that out, but I don't want to mess. I love these post-game shows, and here's the downside to that. If I host a show from the arena is I would have to wait close to an hour after the game ends before I start the show for noise purposes. I guess that would be the only downside, but I might. We'll see. I don't know. If you're asking because you want to meet up, I'll announce it if you want. If you want to grab a beer or something, why not? Yeah, sure. Anyways, is that it? Let me see if there's anything in my notes that I have. There was a play early in the first quarter where, talking about the defense that Draymond, Wiggins, and Kuminga bring to the table when playing on the floor together. There was a play early in this game, and it was very symbolic of the Warriors' transition defense taking a step up in terms of improvement from a year ago. Last year, the transition D was awful. The Warriors were one of the worst fast break teams in the NBA for that reason. And there was a play early in this game where Kuminga and Wiggins blocked Keontae George together. And he had no chance. And it was just to see these two just uber athletic, like 6'7", 6'8" dudes just flying at him and blocking what would have been typically an easy basket on a fast break was absolutely awesome. On that note, the Warriors outscored the Utah Jazz tonight in fast break points. I'm not making this stat up. 13-0. Nothing. The Utah Jazz scored 0 fast break points tonight. That is unbelievable. The Warriors also beat the Jazz in terms of second chance points, 29-19. The Warriors, and this is a trend I am loving so far because last year it was the complete opposite, and that's points in the paint. The Warriors, for the second game in a row, dominate that stat. They outscored the Utah Jazz tonight 54-34 in points in the paint. The Warriors still are not a big team, but they're bigger than they were a year ago, and that is music to my own ears. Seeing that stat. So that was absolutely awesome. The Warriors on the night shot 40% from 3. Yeah, that's good. They were 20 of 50 from beyond the arc, shot 48.1% overall from the field as a team, which is also damn good. They only had 13 turnovers in this game tonight. Damn good. It's marvelous. It's absolutely marvelous. This is all good stuff. Anything else? Got so quiet all of a sudden. So we're back at this Sunday. What's up, 49ers Minded? Splash Buddies. You're absolutely right. Paulie Mack's going to join me. I'll have a guest. And I think he's going to love this audience as much as I do. So that's what's coming up next. The Warriors and the Clippers. The first home game of the season is Sunday. David Durfee mentioning that you were at the Warriors Jazz game in Utah and more people were cheering the Warriors. Wow. Did it look from an aesthetic perspective, from your visuals? Did you see more Warriors fans, or was there still more purple as the predominant color in the arena? That is fascinating. Victor K, when did I don't know what you're talking about. You just wrote, because you keep telling us to stop complaining. All I'm saying is if you love the Warriors and you watched your team win by 41 games, and the first things that are written in a post-game show covering the Warriors is, man, that Kuminga, I'm just saying, like, just, refocus the priorities a little bit. I don't know. That's all I was trying to say. Is it's kind of ridiculous to hate on the team's second youngest player on a night when they absolutely dominated. Damian LaRouche, Paulie Mack's show will debut in January. Otherwise, and then let me just finish up my notes and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, and I'm also going to give you the scores. That is a new tradition on this program. Every post-game show, I'm going to finish up, even with my dog looking at me right now going, I want to get out for a bathroom break. I'm almost there. One thing I noticed in this game for my notes, at the 4:41 mark of the first quarter, there was a blatant, not just one, two fouls on Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry, I believe this was a transition play. It was a fast break, and they were pushing the ball. And Stephen Curry goes up for a layup. He got clearly hit. No foul. He tried to grab his own rebound. He got smacked in the head, smacked in the back. No foul. Refs, I know I sound like a broken record, but for F's sake, protect the game's most valuable brand and individual. Jesus. I also want to give kudos to Steve Kerr. The Warriors were down 15-6 to start this game. So what does Steve Kerr do? He goes with a 4-guard lineup. And it was effective. The Warriors responded with a 15-4 run, a 14-2 run. It worked. Now, granted, these guards are bigger than they have been in years past and far more talented, but props. Stephen Curry in the third quarter was absolutely fantastic. I want to read his stats real fast because in the first half, again, he struggled a little bit. Stephen Curry in the third quarter was 5 for 11 from the field, 3 of 8 from deep, had 13 points. No big deal. Would have been, that's on pace for 52 points for a game. So Stephen Curry coming out like a gangbuster in the third quarter, that is still very much a thing. The Warriors defense, I do have to give them as a collective unit some love because they held the Utah Jazz tonight to just 86 points. They held the Utah Jazz tonight to 42 first half points. And it's been absolutely fantastic. The score of the Trailblazers game was 140-104, and that was such a blowout that the 104 is more than, it doesn't really represent how effective the Warriors defense was. So kudos to the Warriors D. 2 games in, they're playing fantastic. And one last thing, Kevon Looney, I talked about how his game has improved. His shooting has improved. His role as the backup center, fantastic. 9 points, 10 rebounds on the night. he's hitting those mid-rangers like those mid-range shots like they're nothing. So tip of the cap to Kevon Looney, tip of the cap to the Golden State Warriors, tip of the cap to the audience. This is freaking awesome, man. This is freaking awesome. Yeah, I heard about James Wiseman traveling Urquidez, torn Achilles. That's rough. Richard Marquez saying Jerry Stackhouse is inspiring defense. Yes, sir. Chris Collins, I don't know. I just won't touch that. I don't know what that was about. All right. And the rest of the NBA, let's just finish up on that note. The Brooklyn Nets lost to the Orlando Magic tonight, 116-101. Franz Wagner, someone posed the question earlier. I'll bring it up again because it actually paid $1.99. Carson Taylor saying that that Franz for JK, that's a trade that they would do. Well, Franz Wagner tonight makes you look good proposing that trade because Franz had 29.6 rebounds. Cam Thomas, who's gonna set records, not literally, but you'll be hearing his name a lot this year as a player who's putting up a lot of empty stats, had 24.6 rebounds for the losing Brooklyn Nets. The Philadelphia 76ers, who are not playing Joel Embiid, that is a point of contention, and rightfully so. I thought Charles Barkley said it best when he said that real work, that being an NBA player is not a real job, and the fact that you're sitting out games is absurd. I agree wholeheartedly. The 76ers, a lot of people talked about being potential title contenders this year. They're 0-2 now. They lost to the Toronto Raptors. That is not a good look. 115-107. Scotty Barnes, who got the deal that Jonathan Kuminga wants. They both were drafted in the same draft, 3 positions apart, had 27 points in this game. Kelly Oubre Jr., the former Golden State Warrior, leading the way for the losing 76ers with 28. LaMelo Ball scored 34 points, but it was not enough for the Charlotte Hornets, who lost to the Atlanta Hawks 125-120. Trae Young is on a tear to start this season. 38 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists in the win for Atlanta. The Detroit Pistons are now 0-2 on the year. They lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers 113-101. Cleveland was led by Jared Allen, who had 17 points, 11 rebounds. Cade Cunningham leading the losing Detroit Pistons with 33 points and 6 assists. The New York Knicks, this was a nationally televised game. It was a dud. It was boring. They beat the Indiana Pacers. When I say beat, I'm understating it big time. 123-98 the final. It wasn't a blowout like the Warriors, but it was a blowout. Karl Anthony Towns, 21 points, 15 rebounds for the Knicks. Benedict Mathurin had 20 points for the losing Pacers. The Memphis Grizzlies have started the season 1-1. They beat the Utah Jazz last game. They lost tonight to the Houston Rockets, 128-108. Jabari Smith, 14 points, 16 rebounds for the Houston Rockets. Desmond Bane had 17 for the Memphis Grizzlies. This was an upset. The Chicago Bulls defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee, 133-122. Not a good sign for the Bucks defense. Cody White led the way with the Bulls with 35 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 38 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. And folks, when I mentioned the top performers, I'm just reading to you who was highlighted on this score sheet I'm looking at. It's not necessarily the leading scorer from the game. And this is courtesy of ESPN. So if you don't like the player I'm highlighting as a top performer, blame ESPN. The Lakers beat the Suns. This is news to me. I didn't get a chance to watch this game for obvious reasons because it was on almost at the exact same time as the Warriors and the Jazz. The Lakers, what a start for them. They're now 2-0. They beat the Suns 123-116. I'd love to get a synopsis from someone in the chat who watched that game. How the hell are the Lakers 2-0? Anthony Davis, who had a fantastic opening night, continues a strong start to the season. 35 points, 8 rebounds for him. Kevin Durant, 30 points, 6 assists in the loss. And finally, the New Orleans Pelicans improved to 2-0. They beat the Portland Trailblazers by just 2, 105-103. Yes, the Warriors beat Portland by 36? So that's a good sign. New Orleans barely hanging on. Hawkins, now the second-year player, Jordan Hawkins, had 24 points in the win for New Orleans. Jeremy Grant, who all these years I did not know until that Warriors Trailblazers game when Bob Fitzgerald, I think, mentioned it during the broadcast. I had no idea Jeremy Grant is the son of Horace Grant's twin brother, Harvey Grant, who also played in the NBA. I did not know that he was their progeny. Nonetheless, Jeremy Grant, one more time, 34 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. And when I say one more time, I forgot if I had said that before. So if I didn't, that was the first time. And those are your scores for the night. Gamer F2P saying heavy minutes for Anthony Davis. 831 Loco saying Brooke Lopez is so slow for the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks are screwed. The Bucks are dude. Giannis is going to want out of that mess so fast. Steve White saying Kobe White of the Bulls is a baller. Absolutely right. Abraham De Leon saying Jalen Brunson got 26 in that Knicks game. Again, I'm just reading off who ESPN is choosing as their top scorer. It's the easiest format for me to read the score, so I apologize if any of you are not happy. I did not say 29.6 rebounds. 29 points, 6 rebounds. Sorry if I was talking too fast and I mumbled that. And Pinoy Reformat saying that Franz Wagner played professionally early in his career while Kuminga played on concrete courts. Just to add to that, Franz Wagner is actually getting a run in Orlando. Franz Wagner, and this is a great point. And this is like the whole thing with Kuminga, why I constantly talk about him, is because he's a talent. If he's given the opportunity, that's the only way we're going to know just who he is, what he is. The 18 minutes a night, I don't know if we'll ever discover that. And the fact that it's year 4 and we still have no clue what we're getting with Kuminga, it's wild. I just want to see who he is as a player. That's what I want to know, because we still have no clue. And Franz Wagner, who also got an extension recently, whereas Jonathan Kuminga is averaging, I think last year he averaged right around 20 points a game. Franz Wagner, his rookie season, averaged 30.7 minutes per game. His second year, 32.6 minutes per game. Third year, 32.5 minutes per game. Lottery picks get a run. They get a shot. And you figure out who they are from that. And we still have no clue who Kuminga is. And it's just a bummer. But anyways, I think that's it. Any final and yes, and Gamer F2P, I agree. He plays heavy minutes without repercussions, meaning if he has a bad night or a bad start, he's not yanked immediately for another player. Minka McKay saying the league is in trouble. This team is for real. Uncle Chef 30 saying Kuminga is never going to achieve his ceiling playing for the Warriors, and maybe the best move is to trade him. Maybe. I'm starting to lean more and more toward that camp, although I highly doubt that's going to happen. Look, if the Milwaukee Bucks come out and say, or not come out, but if they make a phone call to Mike Maloney Jr. or Joe Lacob and they're like, hey, look, give us Kuminga and give us whoever the hell they ask for that's reasonable, and we'll give you Giannis. Of course you do that. I mean, you don't even think about that. You say yes in 2 seconds. And ATGYY writing, we know what Kuminga can do. The lineup needs to work on chemistry. They need at least 10 games. Very good point. You're absolutely right. Otherwise, anything else? I think we're good. Back at it Sunday. Paulie Max joined the program for the post-game show. That's the next one up. Warriors Clippers. The Warriors themselves now 2-0. Feeling good, baby. Feeling damn good. This Warriors team, we're happy for a reason, folks. Oh, yeah. All right. Are we good? Are we out? Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back at this Sunday night. Warriors and Clippers. Paulie Mack joins me on the post-game show. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Until the next time, have a great night, everybody. Go Warriors. Dude, they won by 41 points. And that's not even, and that's despite being down 15-6 to start the game. These are good times. These are awesome times if you're a Warriors fan. Enjoy this night. Enjoy the weekend. Bye-bye.